Alrighty, welcome to the UFL. Max, Brandon, this is take two for this video because it just cut halfway through, so
Had to re-record it.
we're starting right back from the beginning. Pros and cons for all the leagues, not even just the four major leagues, all the ones I can think of. And he's going to put his input after everything I say. And we grew up in a small town in British Columbia, Canada, so all we had growing up is hockey. We had basketball in high school, but that was more a bunch of idiots running around throwing a ball at each other's head.
Pretty well.
So yeah, all we had is hockey. So don't take our opinions to heart for the other leagues besides hockey, I guess. But NHL pros, it's competitive and equally skilled. You never know who's going to win the Stanley Cup, and you never know who's going to win a game because it's so equally balanced, I believe. It's a fast sport. You get fighting, hits, the stick work and dekes, which you can't see from other leagues, and it has the best trophy in sports and the hardest trophy to win in
By
sports.
far the best looking trophy.
Oh yeah.
I don't care what
That
anyone
thing's
says.
35 pounds.
Yeah.
Everyone else's cute little cup.
And they're lifting that up on freaking skates, man.
Yeah, that's the Stanley Tower,
Yeah, like, come on.
not the cup. Cons, you can't challenge a penalty or a hand pass, but you can challenge an offside off by a hair. That's awful. That hand pass goal, you can't challenge it. Not unless it was offside.
Which-
Should have challenged the offside and just made him look at it anyways.
Which they might be changing,
And
given how the last little...
My big con is the suspension length and the
Yeah.
consistency of suspensions, especially with the Marchand punch to the back of the head. That has doesn't matter if it's
That
a
shouldn't have
flea
happened.
flicker or a haymaker. It doesn't matter. It's you don't need to be hitting someone in the back of the head, especially for a league that wants to get rid of concussions and have all these protocols for head injuries. Unnecessary. Should have been suspension, but with their suspensions, no. But Kadri's back. I think hit from behind was a full series. I think there was a couple other hits to the head where it was 2 games or something like that. But a blatant punch to the head is fine. So NBA pros, tall, massive athletes that you don't think exist in this planet, but they do.
Goddamn giants.
Giants. And the accuracy that they provide is TV doesn't do it justice. Go find yourself a regulation size net and go try to.
We're not talking about your local elementary school like basketball net.
I can
like
slam dunk.
regulation.
Yeah. And they had the most entertaining All-Star game, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
The cons, whistle, whistle, whistle. It feels like a game that should be back and forth constantly like hockey, but it's just whistle, whistle, whistle. I feel like there's a lot of I and no we in basketball, where basketball players like to think of themselves and only themselves and their stats, and their team doesn't thrive because of it.
Yeah.
And as soon as a team like the Hornets or Denver, like a lower market end team, gets a good player, it seems like they just leave to go join a super team. So it feels like lower market teams can never really thrive in the NBA. They need a serious hard cap. MLB, relaxing to watch. And it can have you at the edge of your seat yelling at the TV screen at times. And teams are constantly in a roller coaster all year. It feels like the standings are never set. There's always a team that comes up, and then halfway through the seasons, they're down here, and this team's up there. And
Kind of like how our power ranks in the last 2 videos went.
yeah,
Like,
from 3
few
weeks,
teams
they
went from
swapped.
bottom to top and top to
The
bottom.
whole league changed.
Oh yeah.
Cons for the MLB, there is a lot of games for new or casual fan to follow. It's 162 games in a season. Not even major fans can't watch every single game.
No, it's different.
Delays and postponed games get annoying sometimes because obviously rain comes into effect and all that, and weather. Home plate strike misses and calls. I don't think the umpires should be able to call strikes and non-strikes. There's so many times they miss it bad. I think you should be back there to kick people out for mouthing off and all that crap, but or at least even to call safe. I think they should be able to call safe and go to the umpire's word on that first. But yeah, the strike box is there. They don't need to be calling strikes. And we're on to the NFL. Pros, the playoffs are very entertaining, and the Super Bowl
definitely.
always have to have a party. Even if you're not a football fan, you're ready for a Super
If
Bowl
you don't
party.
watch football all year round, and most people still watch the
The Super Bowl, it's a big thing.
It's the big event.
Massive hits by massive athletes. They can they could run like 240 pounds dudes running 40 yards in like 4.5 seconds.
Yeah, like you might not realize how big these guys are on the TV, but you
Massive,
see some of them in
300
real
pounds.
life, and yeah, they're huge. Like,
And right now for a pro, I believe we are witnessing an era of the best quarterbacks of all time. We have
yeah, there's a lot right now.
Tom Brady, you have Drew Brees, you have Aaron Rodgers, you got a little guy like Russell Wilson running around. You got so many good quarterbacks. We might be in the best era of quarterbacks right now. Might be, I don't know, maybe I didn't watch football way back then, so go ahead and leave a mean comment from me. Major League Lacrosse. Now this is a different one. This is the first time we covered this on this channel, so that's kind of cool because I do like lacrosse.
And it is technically Canada's national sport, even though hockey is definitely our sport. I don't care what anyone says.
Pros, it's a vicious sport, and fights are technically street fights. They're on their feet, on their shoes, and they just have bare knuckle. Yep. It's a street fight. It's dangerous. Lots of goals. If you like goals, lacrosse is probably for you. Lots of goals. Cool names and logos for their jerseys. There's not many teams, obviously not many logos and jerseys then, but they have some very cool names and logos. And it's a very entertaining sport.
Oh, yeah.
Cons, there's one con. No TV coverage. That's enough to kill your sport there. We're not streaming, we're not paying some stupid subscription price to watch. Put it on TV, we want TV coverage. You're not going to grow your sport without TV coverage. See you later. PGA, golf. Just like baseball, it's relaxing to watch. Yeah. Some people, that's all it's about for sport. Especially the older viewership, sitting there and drinking your coffee, watching some golf.
Yeah, it's a good thing to watch in the morning when you wake up. You know,
perfect.
Having breakfast.
It's a hangover sport, you know?
Yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
Unbelievable accuracy and power that you... We just went golfing last night.
Yeah.
Pick up a golf club and go drive a ball like they do, and just the accuracy. It blows my mind. Yeah. It's very impressive golfers. There's always it's an awesome skill gap. There's always a different winner for the different tourneys. It's really cool. Cons, it can be very slow at times. It's too slow. It's so hard for a casual or new fan to start to follow. UFC, real fighting. Pros, real fighting. You get the knockouts, you get the insane submissions, you get the arm snaps, arm breaks, and some big names have come out of the UFC. Some big household names. They've gone on to act and do whatever. Cons, and I think this might have the most cons out of any sport that I put on here. Cons, the constant drug use, the constant controversy around fights. No sponsorship for fighters, so only Reebok can sponsor them.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Like, how you expect your fighters to make money? Like, if you
let them get money,
let them make money.
The low pay grade, they don't get paid that much.
No.
And this is a con for me, not so much everyone else. But I never watch anymore due to lack of interest in the fighters.
Yeah, I could agree.
There's no fighters I want to see.
No, it's a lot of the, especially like even with some of the big pay-per-views.
Back in the day, though, we had like GSP. I had Joe Lozon, like every Joe Lozon fight I had to watch, and it's just there's no fighter does that for me right now. So, and the ranking system means nothing in the UFC. Hey, you're famous and make money. Here's a title shot. Yeah, there you go.
Pretty well.
WWE, you can probably assume there's going to be a lot of fucking cons on this one too. Yeah. Pros, excuse to drink.
Yeah, it's a good. If you want a good time to get around with some boys. And,
I put entertaining with buddies or parties. Yeah, so definitely for sure. Very athletic entertainers, very athletic, and insane work schedule and dedication like you wouldn't believe. Harder than any other sport. Their work schedule. WWE ain't so fake now, is it? Cons, horrible writing as of late.
Especially lately.
I don't know if they hit a monkey over the head with a fucking shovel or that Fender guitar over there, but it's they're pretty retarded. And another con for it. You an ex-UFC fighter? Here's a belt. Here's 2 belts.
Yeah.
Here's 3 belts. Here's 4. Hey, Brock, come back. Here's 5.
Hey, Ronda, you're horrible at acting, but guess what? Here's a belt.
Yeah, you can't wrestle.
Here's a chance to fight.
Yeah. And we're so low end, she'll never see it. But I hope we get big enough where Ronda Rousey can see this video one day and she can just see me right on. CFL, which is the Canadian Football League, if you might not know. Pros, it's very Canadian. If you're watching from America or a different place, you're like, okay, there's that dumb Canadian league. To a Canadian, we love our patriotism. We love everything Canada. So a Canadian Football League, only sport, only league in the world where it's all just Canadians. So that's really cool to me. There's only 3 downs, not 4 downs in the NFL, so it makes for a faster game. Like each side gets the ball way more.
More back and forth, a lot quicker.
It's just as entertaining as the NFL. I don't care what anyone says. You go to a live game, it's just as entertaining.
Oh yeah.
And just because you came from the NFL doesn't mean you're going to become a superstar in the CFL. There's been so many NFL stars. Oh, I'm going to join the CFL. I can't play in the NFL anymore. I'm just going to rock it. They're gone within the year. Look at Johnny Manziel.
It's a whole different game.
Johnny Manziel, I think, would be the biggest example coming into Montreal and thinking he's going to win a couple of Grey Cups and party around. And, first game, 4 interceptions in the first half. The only con I have for CFL is it has low fan support in areas. A lot of people forget about the CFL even in Canada, and it sometimes dwindles and doesn't feel very populated and fun. Which
I feel like it's just not aired enough.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it's just the teams.
But if you are from a place where you can go watch live games, go watch the CFL games. For how cheap, like I go to BC Line games for like $20, and you're right on the 50-yard line, like 9 rows up.
Live football game with beer on a stadium field. You get to scream
the big
and
screen
yell,
just says yell,
and you pay less than what, $50 at the most.
Yeah, I think $50 for 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
And here's the last league I have, because there's a million leagues for this, but I just put any soccer league, because there's Premier League, Major League Soccer, and all that.
It's hard to keep track.
All that boring crap. Pros for soccer, none. I'm kidding.
I could half agree with that. I'm not a big soccer fan.
There isn't many. Because none of the pros actually have to do with the sport that I'm about to say, but towards around soccer. Huge fan bases. You got to give them that.
Especially in Vancouver.
The passion. Yeah. Oh, not even Vancouver, just like
everywhere.
Germany, Italy,
Brazil.
You got your European League. It's insane. The passionate fan bases, like I just said, and they host if not the biggest sport tourney in the world, which is the World Cup.
That's true.
Which is massive. You get just packed every game there. There's like freaking over 100 games during the tourney, and each one has over 80,000 fans. It's insane. Except for that one year, they all had vuvuzelas in the crowd, and it just sounded like bees. And it was like, hey, watch that for 10 seconds, because I can't watch soccer over a minute long. So, cons. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Diving, crying, whining, low shots on net, low scoring games, and I will never watch a full game or ever pay to go to a live game. You will have to pay me to go to that live game. Awful sport. I actually seen an interview of a dude, and like the ref gave him a red card and kicked out the player, and the guy's like, "That's unbelievable. You cannot be doing this to the gladiators. Those are gladiators on the field." And I'm like, those are a bunch of sissies running around with a shirt and shorts on. Should be wearing flip-flops, and they're kicking this ball around. Oh, God, he touched my toe. What a bunch of pansies.
Like, go play hockey, football, or lacrosse or something else, and then try crying and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to look like an idiot, and you're probably not going to be on there very long. You're going to be gone.
But this is just a couple Canadians' opinions. There's a reason why we don't make the World Cup ever. None of us give a shit about soccer up here. It's a boring sport. There's snow. We don't have... You think we got grass to play soccer?
Not much.
Think we got a grass to play soccer on? Screw you and your... You know what? Done with this, man. I ain't fucking... I'm serious.
Yeah, you know what?
I'm serious. I'm done.
Yeah, he's... Well, I guess that's it. UFL out.